Good day, everyone, again. That song was called Uncertainty by Rachel Schroeder. And that's what we're talking about today. Uncertainty, but a certain type of uncertainty, communal uncertainty. But before we get there, I just want to take a pause and acknowledge that this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. And I wanted to share some information that may not be widely known. Did you know that formerly enslaved African Americans in Charleston created one of the earliest Memorial Day observances in 1865 after the Civil War? Did y'all know that? Nope. They honored fallen Union soldiers by properly reburying them, decorating their graves with flowers, singing spirituals, and holding a public remembrance ceremony celebrating freedom and sacrifice. So, this act of remembrance back in 1865 is an important part of the origin story of Memorial Day that is trying to be erased. So let's keep history and her story alive and well in this country. So, our theme for 2026 is Open at the Top. And this month we have been exploring divine doubt. And if that theme for this month hasn't been perfect for May, for me personally, woo! Anyone else have been traveling through May? Oh, yes, I see lots of hands. Yes, yes, yes. So let us remember that doubt is not weakness, is not failure, but it's a part of the sacred unfolding of faith. And we began this month with doubt as devotion. And I shared a quote by Paul Tillich, who said, doubt is not the opposite of faith, it is one element of faith. So, doubt is an element of faith. And so we remember that we are not here to be perfect in faith. We are here to be present in our faith. So doubt can serve as a doorway for us to stand on faith. So today we are exploring a particular kind of doubt, a doubt that is cousins with uncertainty. And many of us are carrying the feeling of uncertainty today. And today we're going to talk about communal uncertainty. So, communal uncertainty is not just my uncertainty, it's not just your uncertainty, but the uncertainty that we feel together, the uncertainty that kind of hangs in the air when the world seems really fragile, the uncertainty that shows up when systems are shifting, the uncertainty that arises when someone we love is hurting and we don't know what is coming next. I think that kind of uncertainty is where I want to begin today. That uncertainty that comes when someone we love is hurting and we don't know what is coming next. So many of you know that last week my husband experienced a mini stroke, and it happened during a normal medical procedure. So he was at the hospital, thank God. But let me tell you something interesting. There's nothing quite like a moment that just interrupts the rhythm of your day. Just going about your day like any other day, drop them off at the hospital, come back home, do some work, and get a phone call. And everything that seemed certain all of a sudden became uncertain. One of those moments where you're just moving through your normal routine, right? And the next moment, your mind is racing ahead, asking questions that your heart is not ready to answer. So, what happens next? Will he be okay? What do we do next? How serious is this? All the what ifs comes raining down, just comes raining down. And if we're honest, uncertainty often activates that part of us that wants immediate answers. I wanted to mush the doctor's face in when he told me he didn't know what to do. What? I want immediate answers, right? We want that certainty. We want guarantees. We want to know the ending before we have lived through the middle. But spiritual maturity is not learning how to eliminate uncertainty. Spiritual maturity is learning how to remain present while uncertainty unfolds. So I love Prima Children. She's a Buddhist monk. She has one of my favorite books is When Things Fall Apart. And she says this, sticking with uncertainty, getting the knack of relaxing in the midst of chaos, learning not to panic. This is the spiritual path. I'm going to say that again. Sticking with uncertainty, getting the knack of relaxing in the midst of chaos, learning not to panic. This is the spiritual path. So, not panicking doesn't mean that you don't care, right? It doesn't mean that we suppress our feelings. It means that we learn how to stay rooted while life shakes us around. And I will tell you, when I received that call from the hospital, I was shook. The stroke impacted my husband's vision, so his vision is distorted. And the doctors, quite frankly, didn't have any satisfactory answers for us. All they were offering was uncertainty. So let me pause right here for a moment because I want to take us back to the beginning of the month. And our love work, not just for May, but for the rest of our lives, is this. I said before responding to a difficult or challenging situation or person, to pause, take 3 breaths, and ask yourself, what would love do or say here? Y'all remember that kind of coming back to you? What would love look like in action in this situation with this person at this time? So that was wonderful, right? To have that love work as I'm going through this experience with my husband. But guess what, y'all? I did none of that. I did none of that. When I got to the hospital, I was angry. I was frustrated. I wanted answers. I did not pause. I did not take 3 conscious breaths. I did not say to myself, ooh, what would love say or do here? As I looked at that doctor's face and he's telling me, I don't know. I don't think he had a stroke. I don't know. Never even entered my consciousness, right? But let me tell you what helped me to not lose my mind. To not lose my mind. You know that song. I'm about to lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Well, that's where I was. And what I did was I reached out to my circle of support, to my community, right? I tapped into that communal love and asked for communal prayer as I was dealing with all of this. Because in community, there is a communal presence of love. And I know here at Rockland CSL, we are that. We are that in action. So my family, my friends, my community of love rallied around Marco and around me in ways that reminded me what spiritual community truly is. That people prayed, people checked in, people called, people text, people held space until I was able to get back into my right mind. until I was able to take those 3 breaths and recenter myself within myself. People became an anchor when uncertainty seemed to become overwhelming. So, when we talk about communal uncertainty, we are talking about all of us, how we commune together. So, something that I haven't done in a while is our definitions. So, I just want to share the definition of commune. Commune means to share deeply, to connect, to participate together, to be in sacred relationship. And the word communal comes from the same root as community. So these words, communal and community, are anchored in the same vibration. And it's that sacred act of holding uncertainty together so that no one is carrying it alone. That is communal uncertainty. That is love in action. And everything changes. Everything changes because uncertainty can sometimes feel isolating. And that used to be me back in the day. I would isolate myself. I would put on my cape and I would be like, I got this. I don't need any help. I could do it all. That was me back in the day, and it was exhausting. So, because uncertainty isolates when we believe we can figure it out all by ourselves, when we know that we are in community, when we are communal with each other, uncertainty transforms into love's presence, into love in action. And this is why spiritual community matters so very much. And it's not because any of us has the answers, right? Sometimes we just have to be in the question. And it's not because we always agree with each other. And it's not because we are always certain about anything, but it's because we are willing to sit together in the mystery. The greatest spiritual practice is not certainty. The greatest spiritual practice is companionship. And this is what Ernest has to say about this. I love this point that he makes in the Science of Mind text on page 276. He says, we must differentiate between the divine presence as a universal spirit, a thing to be communed with, and the universal law, which is simply a blind force. I'm going to read that again. We must differentiate between the divine presence as a universal spirit, a thing to be communed with, and the universal law, which is simply a blind force. So Holmes reminds us that spirituality is not about trying to manipulate some cosmic vending machine where we say the right affirmation and instantly get the outcome we want. This is our teachings. The law itself is impersonal. It responds according to consciousness. But the presence, mm, woo, the presence that I call God is something to be communed with. One of my favorite books is Practicing the Presence by Joel Goldsmith. He says, if you so love God that you will spend many periods a day, even brief ones, tabernacling in the temple of your own inner being with the presence. Tabernacle with spirit. To commune with something is to be experienced. It is something to be felt. It is something to rest in. And perhaps That is what we forget when uncertainty arises. Oftentimes that goes out the window. But we practice the presence. We commune with the God as us. We tabernacle with spirit. Now, remember the second part of the love work that we're doing for the rest of our lives. Even in frustration and even in anger, I remembered the importance of my spiritual practice. I remembered the solace, the peace that I receive when I tabernacle with God as me. So, our spiritual practice reminds us not to force answers while neglecting communion with the presence that is always present. Everywhere we are, God is. That is not just a cute saying, it is the truth. It is the truth. Our spiritual practice reminds us that we cannot mentally solve what must be first spiritually held. We need to hold it. Don't push it away. Bring it closer. Bring it closer. There are moments when the healing is not in having certainty. The healing is in remembering that we are not alone. We are not alone. God has us. And in community, we have each other. And maybe that is the deeper invitation in communal uncertainty. Can we become communities? Can we become a world where people are allowed to just not know? Can we become communities where vulnerability is welcomed? Can we become communities where doubt is not shamed, but honored as part of spiritual growth? Because the truth is, many people are silently carrying uncertainty right now, tortured by uncertainty, uncertainty about health, uncertainty about finances, uncertainty about relationships, uncertainty about the state of the world, uncertainty about democracy, about climate, about justice, about what kind of future we are creating together. And sometimes we think that faith means pretending that we're not afraid. It's okay to feel afraid. Because faith is not pretending that you are feeling something that you are not feeling. Faith is remaining open hearted in the midst of uncertainty. Faith is continuing to love while answers are still unfolding. It took time for the doctors to have answers that were somewhat satisfying for me. It took time for all of that to unfold. Faith is continuing to pray while the outcome remains unknown. Faith is continuing to show up for one another even when we cannot fix things for each other. That is communal spirituality. That is sacred community. And perhaps this is the one reason why gathering together matters. And I would add gathering together in person matters. People send me so many virtual hugs, and it was lovely. But there's nothing like a Roxanne hug, y'all. Nothing like it. And I got one while all this was going on. So this is what we get to do. We get to practice being the presence for each other. We say we are God. So when we are present with each other, the presence of God is also present. The God in us is also present. We are practicing resiliency. We are practicing remembering the truth of who and whose we are. We are practicing holding one another in love. We are practicing knowing that every prayer spoken matters, that every prayer spoken is answered. We get to stand in the knowingness that when we ask, how are you doing really? That people will share how they are really doing in spiritual community. So I stand here deeply grateful today that we commune in our community, that we embrace the power of prayer. We embrace the power of being present with each other. I am grateful for the healing that is happening even now, because every day Marco's vision is getting a little bit better. Yes. And sidebar, it don't hurt that the Knicks are winning, y'all. Woo! I am grateful for our community. I am grateful that I could call Chris 2 days before service at UUCR and ask her to do the sermon. And she says, and I quote, yes, I can definitely do that. You just focus on Marco and the kids. We got you. And it is demonstrated. These are just not words, it is action. So I'm grateful. Words are not sufficient to express. Whew, my gratitude. Whew. I am so grateful for our community of love that we surround each other with love in difficult moments. In those moments of uncertainty, we are soldiers for each other, soldiers of love. And so I know this truth. When we do not overcome uncertainty, I know that we do not overcome uncertainty by controlling, because I could go straight into control mode in the midst of uncertainty. I have to let that go. I'm still practicing that. Lord knows I am. We move through uncertainty not by controlling, but by being more connected, by being more connected, that I could call up my best friend and she could put me back in my seat where I need to be. She could talk me down off the roof. We get to be more connected to spirit, more connected to ourselves, and more connected to one another. So today, I invite us into a deeper practice of communion. Not just communication, but communion. A willingness to sit with each other in truth. A willingness to hold uncertainty without panic. A willingness to trust that even in the unknown, love is still present, especially in the unknown. Love is still present, especially in the uncertainty. Love is still present. And as Prima said, that is the real spiritual path. Not certainty, but connection. Not perfect answers, but faithful presence. Not avoiding uncertainty, but learning how to walk through it together. So I want to leave you with this question for reflection. What would shift in your life if you stop seeing uncertainty as something to fear? Think about the world today. What if we shifted and instead of seeing things through the eyes of uncertainty with fear, we see it as an invitation to go into deeper communion with Spirit, with our communities, with ourselves? What if that is what all of this is about? For us to shift towards each other instead of away from each other. What if it's an invitation to put down to not text and instead call somebody, or even better yet, go and see about them face to face? What if this is all an invitation for that? So I want to close with this song as our affirmative prayer today. And the song is called Somebody Prayed for Me. And when we're going through uncertainty, one of the greatest things that we can do is to know the truth for one another. One of the greatest things we can do is to know the truth for one another. And so somebody prayed for me. Somebody prayed for Marco. And we pray for each other. This song is by Andrew Dykes. There's many, many versions of it. And I found this one that has like a kind of bluesy feel to it. So let us remember that somebody prays for us in those moments of uncertainty.
You ever wonder why you made it through? Wasn't your luck, wasn't your plan. Somebody been praying for you, man. I done ran these streets, broke some rules, played the fool, paid a few dues. Should've been gone a long time ago, but grace done found me, Lord, I know. Mama's tears hit that old wood floor. She said, Lord, keep my baby one day more. That's when I knew somebody been praying for me. Somebody been praying for me while I was blind but thought I could see. Every wrong turn that didn't take me down was a whisper from heaven turning me around. Ain't no doubt, no mystery, somebody been praying for me. Grandma's Bible, pages torn, carried me through nights I was warm. I done lied, I done cried, done things I couldn't justify, but every time I hit my knees, I felt their prayers float on the breeze. I swear I see somebody been praying for me. Ain't no luck in my survival, it's them hands holding a revival. You can't out that kind of love. It follow you like a dove. Somebody been praying for me through every fall through misery. And when I cross that Jordan Sea, I'ma thank the ones who carried me. The faith done set me free. Somebody been praying for me. So if you're still here, still breathing free, don't think it's luck. Nah, somebody somewhere been praying for you, just like they prayed for me.
There was a time.
Mm. Woo. Somebody's been praying for us, y'all. Somebody's been praying for us. So let's just take a deep breath in. Mm. Before we just shift to the next thing, let's just be here. Let's just send each other love and light. And let us extend this love and light out into the world, to all the corners of the world. Mm. And so it is. Amen.